President Biden is pushing for hurricane relief after the devastation caused by Hurricanes Helene and Milton. President-elect Trump's plan to declare a national emergency and use the military at the border is also making headlines, as well as high-stakes legal case in New York that could impact his presidency. To discuss it all, Deputy Political Director with Scripps News, Joe St. George, joins us live for the latest. Now, Joe, President Biden is asking Congress to approve a new relief package for communities hit by Hurricanes Helene and Milton, something we're clearly all too familiar with here in Louisiana. What are the biggest roadblocks this relief package faces in Congress, and how quickly could help reach these devastated areas?
Well, good morning. I think there's so much talk about the next Congress and the next administration. We forget about the current administration and the current Congress. Yes, they're lame ducks, but that doesn't mean they're incapable of doing anything. In fact, they'll have to do something. Government funding currently runs out on December 20th, so some financial package will have to pass before the new Congress takes over to keep the lights on through the holidays. And that financial package may be a vehicle for hurricane relief, disaster relief to be attached to it. President Biden sending to Congress a roughly $100 billion aid package on Monday. $40 billion, roughly $40 billion of that will go to the Department of Homeland Security, which oversees FEMA. Around $24 billion of that, the Department of Agriculture. I don't think we've talked a lot about how farmers have been impacted by Hurricane Helene, Hurricane Milton as much as we should. The expectation for this is that the Speaker of the House, Republican Speaker of the House Mike Johnson, has said that he'll take a look at this. Sometimes these things can get a bit political, concern about the cost of spending money, too much government, but I think there's less appetite for big political fights before the new Congress takes over, especially from Republicans, given the fact they're going to control the House, Senate, and White House for the next couple of years.
Now, Joe, I want to shift now to President-elect Trump and his immigration plans. President-elect Trump plans to declare a national emergency and deploy the military to the border. So how realistic is this plan, and what legal or political hurdles could slow it down?
Well, to some degree, it's not terribly surprising. I mean, President-elect Trump campaigned on drastic changes when it comes to border and immigration policy in our country. He campaigned on mass deportation. So this is very much what the Trump transition team believes they were elected to do. I think what's abundantly clear, whether it's through a social media post or through cable news interviews, is that the Trump team wants to get things moving right away on day one without necessarily the approval of Congress. Declaring a national emergency regarding the border gives them what they believe is more authority, more broad authority. Using the military, yes, perhaps to help Border Patrol agents, but also to build facilities. If there's truly going to be this mass deportation of undocumented immigrants in this country, there will need to be places to house them before the actual deportation takes place. This is going to be a massive undertaking by the federal government, one that will likely result in lawsuits. It's a much more friendlier court system, though, in the second Trump administration than it was in the first, certainly with the conservative-leaning United States Supreme Court. So we shall see. This is going to be the big story come January 20th, late January. How quickly does Trump ramp up all of these immigration and border security ideas? And do governors cooperate? Do local law enforcement cooperate? That's going to be a big question.
And finally, Joe, a big legal case involving President-elect Trump in New York. That judge could rule today on whether to continue that case or to dismiss it. Now, Joe, what are Trump's lawyers arguing, and what would the implications of a dismissal be for his presidency overall?
Well, I think that there is, certainly for President-elect Donald Trump about to take over, this is going to be a very different second term than it was for the first term. There are certainly many controversial picks that he has made: Attorney General, Department of Homeland Security, Secretary of Health and Human Services with Robert F. Kennedy Jr. But this is very much an advisory team surrounding him who has had 4 years to think, and the president-elect has had time to think for the last 4 years on what he would do differently in a hypothetical second term. I think we're starting to see it play out. There's a reason why his cabinet picks are coming in about 5 times faster than President Biden's picks 4 years ago.